Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show, albeit the virtual show on this Friday evening from the Stafford Speedway. I'm Kyle Rickey, joined by Jeff McConey and Bonza Tufa for a full night of racing powered by the Global Sim Racing Channel. Tonight marks the 8th consecutive night of racing on these Friday nights, and for the second time, we'll feature the late model stock cars. All of tonight's action once again sponsored by All Phases Renovations. A great field of drivers continuing to practice, so before we look ahead to tonight's action, let's rewind 7 nights and flash back to last Friday night's tour-type modified Stafford Invitational.
Tonight's winner will be $350 richer, with second and third place pocketing a hefty $200 and $150 respectively.
Green flag, Jacob Perry, Brian Narducci make up the front row as we go to turn 1.
Brian Narducci doing what he does best and working that high side. He's got a run coming off turn 2, but gets a little loose, has to hold on to that car. That opens the door for Jacob Perry to get by, and opens the door as well for Teddy Hodgson to slip on into third. He's watching a side-by-side battle ahead of him. He's got Matt Vassar on his outside, and Mike Christopher Jr. biding his time behind Hodgson.
Brian Narducci is closing as Narducci continues to paint that white line in the corners. And looking behind, Mike Christopher Jr. is also starting to reel them in. We could see a three-way battle for a lead here real soon.
You'll see a car dive down to the bottom and just coast around on the apron. Contact! Oh, turn 3! There goes Jacob Perry. Narducci keeps it going. Jacob Perry manages to save it somehow, some way.
Second spot, $250, and the third spot, $150, as here comes Christopher to the inside of
Double
DiMatteo.
turn 3! Corey DiMatteo goes around off of the front bumper of Peter Bennett. Teddy Hodgson gets around. The caution is out. Side-by-side battle for third. Hodgson makes the outside work. Trouble as Hodgson has to lock it down to avoid wrecking the car. Oh my goodness, a little bit of contact there. Now he's 3 wide for the back. They are wrecking. Hodgson goes around. I don't think there's going to be a caution for this. There it is. There is a caution after all. White flag is in the air off turn number 4. Brian Narducci leads him into turn 1 with a shot to the back bumper from Christopher Jr.
Oh, what's going to happen now? Half a lap to go. Narducci in a drought. Christopher Jr. looking for win number 2. Narducci takes it deep into turn 3. Christopher up to the back Nerf bar. He can't get there though. Narducci goes wide off of 4, a little bit sideways, but he hangs on. Brian Narducci is going back to victory lane. He wins the modified invitational and wins $350 from All Phases Renovations.
Second win in this series for Brian Narducci, first since April 3rd after being so close a week ago. So Brian Narducci picking up the win last week in a tour-type modified Stafford Invitational event. That was last week, but Jeff, tonight brings a much different style race car with the late model.
Right here tonight, the late models are a little bit different than most modifieds. Mainly, they have fenders on the side of them and no Nerf bars, so when you are getting up into someone else's door, they are certainly going to feel it. These cars are 3,100 pounds and pack enough power to reach 160 miles an hour, but unfortunately, we won't be seeing that tonight at the half-mile Stafford Speedway. The speeds aren't going to be that quick. What we will be seeing, however, is some fendered race cars leaning heavily on each other's door as they do battle at this legendary Connecticut track.
And Bonza, the late models, ran here a couple of weeks ago on May 1st. A fairly wild night compared to some of the other events that we have hosted. What are you anticipating here this evening?
Well, Kyle, I'm not expecting as many yells because now race control controls when the caution comes out. So you might have a crash in the back, but our race director, Dylan Kopech, may not throw out the caution because it's far back in the back and it's not going to affect anyone else's race. A lot of contact because you have these fendered cars. These guys are leaning on each other and such, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of contact. But again, Dylan Kopech won't be as strict with the yellows. Second point I want to make, this is our second late model feature. The first feature was won by Reagan Parent. He's not racing tonight. So who finished second in that race? Kyle Souza, and he's already got 2 wins on Friday nights here at Stafford. He's got to be one of the favorites, especially considering he finished second in the first late model race and was catching up to Parent before the checker flag flew. He just ran out of time. Also got to watch Aaron Plemons. He won the Wednesday fan race to transfer over to tonight's feature, and he's been very fast in the late model so far. He's got to be one to watch for right now. He is 6th fastest on the practice sheet. And my last point is sleepers. Sleepers sleepers. You always got those few people that you may not expect to come to the front, make their way up there. I think Justin Wren, that blue 66 car, a limited late model driver with a lot of late model experience on iRacing. He finished 10th, was trying to go for 9th in the first late model feature after starting back in 20th. He's going to be one to watch. Now, for those who may not be as familiar with the Stafford Motor Speedway, let's give you our track preview video.
Welcome to Stafford. This half-mile oval was built in 1870 for a different type of horsepower, horse racing, and then automobile racing took over after that. This place is not as flashy or fancy as the half miles that the Cup cars go to today, but this busy oval can still put on a fantastic show full of action for the fans and intense competition for the drivers. Uniquely banked, it poses a challenge for all comers. Turns 1 and 2 are banked at 9 degrees, where turns 3 and 4 are banked a little less at 7 degrees. The apron here at Stafford is known for being very wide but flat. Only the bravest of drivers with the utmost grip can make passes down there. Short tracks equal close racing and usually leads to shorter tempers. Keeping calm at Stafford rewards the drivers. It's like the old racing expression, to finish first, you must first finish. Corner exit tends to be the most challenging place on the track, where the fast lane sweeps right out of the corners towards that wall that awaits you. Stafford is an old, worn-out surface, so managing the tires is also key to finding victory lane here. All in all, Stafford poses a fun challenge to drivers, and it's always sure to put on a great show. So settle in, buckle up, it's bound to be a great race.
All right, that's a look at the Stafford layout here at the historic Stafford Motor Speedway. Before we get going, I want to take a moment, thank some folks that are working behind the scenes for us here this evening at the Global Sim Racing Channel. Our director, Sean Ambrose, has been with us now for 9 weeks and does a bang-up job every week. And cameras tonight provided by Dougie Beard. And Bonza mentioned a little bit ago the Wednesday night program, the Horton Group, that sponsors that event, which is open to race fans tonight, for the most part, reserved for Stafford Speedway competitors in the real world. Fans, though, can race their way in through the Wednesday night program. 5 did just that, including Aaron Clemens, who won that event, Ryan Libby, Mason Tessier, Tyler Wood, and Stephen Daddio. Some familiar names. Those 5 drivers seem like they like this Stafford Motor Speedway and have transferred more often than not. And again, All Phases Renovations continuing to sponsor tonight's program, including putting up the purse here this evening. The race winner will get $150, second place $75, in third place $25. And we'd like to continue to thank All Phase for their support here each and every Friday night. They are located in southeastern Massachusetts. Give Larry a call for your outdoor construction needs. Those needs could include patios, pool renovations, outdoor bars and kitchens, decks, and much more. Find him on Facebook or give him a call at 508-332-6316. Qualifying underway right now. Practice wrapping up just a few moments ago. And Jeff, some familiar faces in the field here tonight. Also a couple new faces joining us for the first time.
A lot of familiar faces. Peter Bennett now all the way up at the top of the board. Tyler Leary having a great run. But the Saunders brothers are very, very close to each other. They are about 35 thousandths apart from each other. Cliff with a 19.870 and Al with a 19.905, but they are falling further and further down the board. Lap times are getting quicker here as the session goes on. A little bit of cloud cover seems to have rolled in. The lower track temperature allows these drivers to be a little bit quicker, but Peter Bennett is sitting on the pole, a 19.69 and a 19.779 in second for Justin Williams. But let's take a look at the weather here.
Yeah, 77 degrees right now. Partly cloudy skies, light wind, 2 miles per hour, and the track temp 91 degrees. Bonzo, we're talking to some new names, also several females in the field here tonight. And as I mentioned that, we see one of them on the screen right now making her debut, and Nicole Chambrello.
Yeah, Nikki Chambrello, former street stock driver, now moving up to the SK Lights at Stafford Motor Speedway this season. Looking to make the race, trying to just get her feet wet at this racetrack in the late model. She doesn't have too much experience with these cars on the sim. But we also have Cassandra Cole, who's been a regular in the iRacing series for the last several weeks. And we have Alina Bryden. Alina racing the SK Light division. Also, you'll see her around the Wild Thing carts on Monday nights. Can't wait to see those guys get back on the track. But Stafford in real life is known for their high profile and high concentration of female drivers. You got Meg Fuller, Sammy Anderson, Amanda West, Alex Fern. But it's the same here at the virtual track with people like Alina Bryden, Nikki Chambrello, and Cassandra Cole. And Cassandra has shown speed in the last several weeks, especially in the open wheel cars. Not as confident about the fendered cars, but you still got to keep an eye on her.
Sean Solomito, another new name from Long Island, modified competitor down there, and also pops up every once in a while in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, running here tonight. Stephen Daddio on the track, one of the transferees from the Wednesday night program. Ryan Borges, surprise, surprise, goes to the top over Tyler Wood, Peter Bennett, Aaron Plemons, Kyle Souza, who we saw a moment ago. And Jeff, Kyle's been strong. It doesn't seem to matter what car it is, whether it's modified, a street stock, a late model. The media veteran has looked good every Friday night he has competed here.
Just an hour ago, I was racing with him in the super late model at Lanier, and he actually managed to beat me there. So no matter what you put this guy in, he is out there. He's quick. But right now, though, on the speed charts, he's a 19,775. That's going to put him a little bit further back here, just outside the top 10 as the cars are getting quicker and quicker here. Ryan Borges stays on top, and now qualifying, wrapping up. That is going to solidify the grid for heat number 1.
Looks like Ryan Borges going to come out of this first come out of qualifying with quick time. That will put him on the pole for this first qualifying event. We'll have a couple of qualifying races. Good field of cars here tonight and drivers. Over, I believe, 39 drivers took time in practice. And here is the starting lineup for qualifying heat race number 1. Ryan Borges, Ryan Blanchard making up the front row. Ryan Libby, another one of those drivers that transferred over from Wednesday night's program, in row number 2, along with Justin Williams, Mason Tessier, and Pete Thickett make up row number 3. Further back, Al Saunders and Mark Alkis, Evan Crosby, and Devin Jensick will complete the 10-car starting field here in qualifying heat race number 1. And Bonza, we talk about it every week. You need to qualify well in single-car time trials a moment ago so you can start up toward the front, because there have been some weeks where we've had a tough time getting through this opening lap of these qualifying heat races. The pressure is on these drivers to make the field and be a part of that top 5.
You're right. The top 5, as you mentioned, they move on to the feature. The rest would have to go through the consolation race later on. And you look at the top 4 even. You got Blanchard, Borges, Justin Williams, Ryan Libby, even Mason Tessier in 5th. That's a stacked top 5. So if you're Pete Thickett, Al Saunders, Mark Alkis, it's going to be hard to get by those guys, and you have to avoid any chaos. It's a small field. You got about 10 cars in this lineup, but even then, these guys are going to race hard, and with these late models, a lot less downforce, a lot less tire compared to the modified cars, so a lot less grip overall, but there's still a decent amount of power. So these guys are going to have their hands full, and especially as the rubber gets laid down, the handling will continue to change over time.
Field on the 1-to-go signal. Jeff, you've been iRacing for a long time now and a part of this program since its debut 2.5 months ago. How will this track change over the course of the night as we get more qualifying heat races in the books and the track temp goes down as the night goes on as well?
Well, the more cars drive on this track, more rubber gets laid down here, and it's going to really change the way these cars handle. What you want, though, is a cooler track. The colder the track temp, the faster your car is going to be. Right now, it's sitting at 89 degrees, but going into turn 1, Ryan Borges leads the way. He's got the inside line rolling. He's clear of Ryan Blanchard. That opens the door for Ryan Libby to now try and get to work on the 9 car in second place.
Yeah, Libby goes to the inside, Blanchard to the outside. They're side by side behind Borges, the race leader, and everybody, I don't want to say it too prematurely, but it looks like everybody's going to get through lap number 1, and they do. Borges, the leader, Blanchard, Libby, Tessier, and Justin Williams. That's the top 5 as they make their way down the back straightaway. Quickly single out into turn number 3, and didn't take long, Bonza, for everybody to find the bottom of the racetrack, and that's the ideal line around this Stafford half mile.
It's interesting, though, because as these cars tighten up, you'll see these guys start to dime in the corners. They enter in low, you might see them drift up a half a lane and then cut back to the bottom. You might even see some guys try and clip the apron with the left side tires to de-wedge the car and give them a better exit off the corner. Right now they are single file, but some guys have different styles. You see them sometimes driving deeper, while some check up a little bit earlier to try and roll through the center better. And as we saw last week, that happened with Jacob Perry and Brian Narducci in the modified invitational, and that led to Perry almost getting turned.
Mason Tessier slid up the racetrack about a lap and a half ago, and I thought he was going to lose that pit spot to Justin Williams, who slid back into line. Slow and steady, everybody to the bottom of the racetrack, and Jeff, the best battle on track, obviously, for that fifth spot. Williams is there, Pete Thicket, all behind Mason Tessier, who hangs on to fourth.
Mason Tessier sits in fourth place, but there's actually a battle now brewing for sixth. That is Pete Thicket going to the inside, the 10 car. I'm sorry, that's Al Saunders to the inside of Pete Thicket. So he's working his way around. They all need to get a top 5 finish here, though, so half this field is going home. The Saunders twins are both trying to make the field here tonight. Wouldn't that be something if they both made it to the feature event? But right now, Al Saunders focusing. He's got it all the way up and working his way through the field to get to the top 5.
Al Saunders right now outside of that all-important top 5 in the 7th spot in car number 40. A great look at Justin Williams' 55 car, and he gets into Pete Thicket. Thicket, nice save, goes slideways through turn number 4, but unfortunately that's going to drop him outside of the top 5, Bonza.
Yeah, first of all, Williams got loose off the exit of the corner, which allowed Butler a chance to get underneath and pass, but Butler overdrove turns 1 and 2, and he went to a 4-wheel drift up the track, and that allowed Justin Williams to peek underneath, and Butler was trying to close the gap, but you only have a couple laps to go, so when you hit the transfer spot on the line, you're not going to give much space, and Butler did an incredible job saving it, but he cooked his tires. He just lost another position to Al Saunders.
Ryan Borges, Ryan Blanchard, top 2. Then it's Ryan Libby. Got to be named Ryan, I guess, to run toward the front of this field. Mason Tessier, Justin Williams, top 5. As we race into the final lap, white flag, and it looks like, Jeff, Ryan Borges, the early favorite here tonight. He looked good in practice, and he looks good in this opening qualifying event.
Sure looks to me like he's going to come off of turn 4, and he gets a little bit loose there, actually, so keep an eye on that. He crosses the line in first and is going to win it. Ryan Blanchard in second. Ryan Libby comes home third. Mason Tessier in fourth, and Justin Williams rounds out the top 5. That means, Pete Thicket hardened to the wall after the line. He gets 6th. Al Saunders in 7th. Devin Jensick in 8th. Kevin Crosby 9th. Mark Alkus in 10th. They are all going to have to race their way in. Heat race number 2, though, is hitting the grid.
Do you guys do that on purpose after the checkered flag? I feel like we see that a lot, where guys just never lift going into turn 1 to see how hard they can hit the wall once the race is over and official.
Sometimes, but let's take a look at the grid for heat race number 2.
Qualifying heat number 2 on track. Drivers loading onto the front stretch now. Tyler Wood on the pole over Modified Tour veteran Matt Swanson. Mike Christopher Jr., who has done so well on these Friday night modified programs. We'll see how he can do in a late model. Matt Vassar in row number 2 with him. Then it's Tony Membrino and Cliff Saunders, the other half of the Saunders twins. He'll make up row number 3 to the outside. Then it's Kyle Johnson, Sal Liccardi, and Dalton McCarthy rounding out the 10 drivers, or the 9 drivers in this qualifying event. Looks like all 9 lined up and ready to go. And surprised, Jeff, on how clean qualifying heat race number 1 was?
A pleasant surprise. Everybody managed to keep it going clean here. I imagine our race director, Dylan Kopech, was quite happy to see it. Let's see if the trend continues, though, here through the other 3 heat races. They have a lot of drivers here that all need to get into the top 5. Half the field goes home here. We've got a 10-car field. 5 of them will make it. Cliff Saunders sitting on the outside here. His brother Al just had a little bit of rough luck there. Looks like he's going to have to work his way in through the Consi if he's going to get a chance at all. So now Cliff trying to get one of the Saunders brothers in. He sits right outside the top 5, and I think that's where the best battle is going to be.
Hey, Jeff, are you going to say this feature is going to go caution-free now?
Possibly.
Don't make those predictions. It's too early.
We saw what happened last time in our last late model race, so I just wanted to ask.
That last race on May 1st, Jeff predicted that it would be a quiet and quick race, and it was far from that. So hopefully tonight we'll have a few more green flag laps and a few less caution flags. Want to remind you that late models racing here tonight, but we're right back with you next Friday night. SK Modifieds, first time we have seen them in a while since April 17th, last SK race that we've had. June 5th, we have the super late models coming back here, and then on June 12th, the tour type modifieds. And hopefully by then we'll have some news about what will happen in the real world. As we are set to go green here, Jeff, off of turn 4, Tyler Wood, Matt Swanson to bring the field down.
Tyler Wood leads the way, but Matt Swanson, a great jump on the outside. Not quite enough, though. You see Mike Christopher Jr. as well now going to work on Matt Vassar. He makes it by, so put Christopher Jr. up to third. We were worried about how he would perform in a late model versus a modified. Looks like he's doing just fine. There goes Cliff Saunders working the outside. Bounces off the wall, though, almost into Tony Membrino. All managed to keep it clean, though. Mike Christopher Jr. now up to second, working the inside of Matt Swanson.
Couple of easy paint schemes to spot in this qualifying event. Obviously, Old Blue, the number 3 of Matt Swanson, and the purple entry, the Membrino colors for decades at the Stafford Motor Speedway and tracks across the Northeast. Tony Membrino in that purple entry right now, just outside of the top 5 in the 7th spot after scuffing the wall a lap or so ago, closing in on Sal Accardi. Further up, a good race just behind Membrino, and that's, or just behind Swanson, that is. That's Kyle Johnson and Sal Accardi that we're watching race into turn number 1. Johnson has the spot in car number 36. Accardi a car length behind him in a race for position number 5.
The battle is on for 5th, but going up towards the front, Tyler Wood has checked out over Mike Christopher Jr. Almost a full second lead now, about 0.6 seconds. He's got over Mike Christopher Jr. Matt Vassar sitting in third, but he's under fire from Matt Swanson, who just bumped the wall right there.
On board with Matt Swanson running in position number 4 right now, piloting Old Blue, number 3 on the side of that car. And you might see him on screen scored as the 19, but running his real-world paint scheme in number here tonight. Bonza, we're talking about Matt Swanson having a good run, scuffing the wall. The other half of the Saunders twins, Cliff Saunders, struggling a bit here in this qualifying event, currently in the 9th spot.
Yeah, he got nerfed several laps ago from behind by Dalton McCarthy. That's why Saunders is all the way back in the last position this heat race. One thing I've noticed, though, these restarts and starts can get very hairy because we see a lot of people over driving the corners. Sal Accardi washed out the track one lap. Matt Swanson did the same thing. We saw him hit the wall a couple laps ago. These guys are really driving it deep into the corners, and we're seeing them wash up to the 2nd lane, almost up to the 3rd lane. So these starts and restarts can get hairy, but if you are patient enough and can wait to get on that throttle to exit the corner, you might gain a couple positions or gain a lot of ground because people around you are overdriving the corner. We had a close call just now between Mike Christopher Jr. and Matt Vassar. It looks like they got together battling for that 2nd spot as there's 2 laps to go.
Matt Vassar out of shape there a half a lap ago and lost ground to Mike Christopher Jr. and Matt Swanson able to gain ground on that spot. That's the best battle right now, Jeff, for position number 3 behind the driver you see right now, Tyler Wood, racing into the final lap.
White flag is now in the air for Tyler Wood. He's got 1.3 seconds over Mike Christopher Jr. He's not worried at all, but Matt Vassar might be a little bit worried. Matt Swanson is behind him, so it's a battle of the mats right now, but it looks like Vassar's going to come out on top. Matt Swanson had to collect the car there coming off the corner, but Tyler Wood is going to win it. Mike Christopher Jr. in 2nd, Matt Vassar 3rd, Matt Swanson in 4th, and Kyle Johnson rounds out your top 5. The rest of the field that will have to race their way in is Tony Membrino, Sal Accardi. That was, let's see, timing and scoring changed on me. Cliff Saunders finished 8th, and Dalton McCarthy finished in 9th, so they will all have to race their way in.
I'll go into the consolation event in a little bit. The 3rd qualifying race on the racetrack now. They are taking their positions on the front straightaway. 10 cars strong. Here's a look at the starting lineup. You have Tyler Wood there. Also, Peter Bennett scheduled to take the green on the pole over Cassandra Cole. On the front row, Jonathan Pulio, Dan Wesson, Sean Solomito. Good to have a Solomito back in the field here tonight. Joseph Eilart, Brian Narducci as the front 3 rows there. You see Bennett and Cole, Pulio, and you have Wesson, Solomito, Eilart, and then the back half of the field here, last week's winner, Brian Narducci, Alina Bryden joining for the first time here tonight, Larry Westgate, and Andrew Moeller. make up the 10 drivers here in this qualifying event.
Kyle, we talked about Narducci, and he's always fast. He's been fast every single week. He's got 2 wins. But remember, the last late model race we had, he did not make the feature. He got caught up in an accident in the consolation race and actually did not qualify for the feature. So he hasn't had much experience in these late models in our series right now. He probably has more outside of it, but it's going to be really interesting to see. We know he can be aggressive. He's starting back in 7th, did not have a good time trial run. How aggressive is he going to be early on, or is he going to wait to see if someone drives in too deep and wipes out a couple cars in front of him?
Find out here in a bit. Starting 7th, that is outside looking in, 5 advance. Peter Bennett, Cassandra Cole will lead the field down to the green for the start of qualifying heat race number 3. Here's Jeff McConey.
Up at the front, we are seeing some very quick drivers. Peter Bennett is going to lead the way. Cassandra Cole up on the outside. A bit of a checkup towards the back. Joseph Eilert got a bump from behind. But now Cassandra Cole on the outside trying to make something happen with Peter Bennett. Not going to work. Here comes Jonathan Pulio now trying to slide into 2nd place into turn 3. Takes it to the bottom, and now they are side by side. Cassandra Cole losing ground on the outside, but man, there's a big stack up out there. She's trying to get down to the bottom.
Yeah, something that we have seen here, the driver on the outside usually has a tough time getting to the bottom without losing a couple of spots, and she is struggling a bit now. Salamito is there looking to the inside. Brian Narducci, we should mention, has now raced his way among the top 5 and is a part of this torrid battle from 3rd on back. Wow, look at Salamito. Gets the 3rd spot. Now it's Cassandra Cole and Brian Narducci side by side for 4th.
Joseph Eilert is trying to battle his way up as well, but he's got a long road ahead. He's actually back there with Cassandra Cole. There's trouble off turn 4, and there goes Joseph Eilert around. He had to check up for a wreck. I don't think this is going to bring out a caution. It was really a single car incident. But Dan Wesson turns the 6th of Joseph Eilert around after the 15 got bumped and had to check up off the corner.
Shuffles the running order just a bit, except for Peter Bennett at the front. He continues to lead by just under a second over Jonathan Pulio, who runs in the 2nd spot, sporting a new paint scheme. We're seeing more and more of these paint schemes with the numbers toward the back of the car, running in that 2nd spot. Now it's Brian Narducci up the 3rd, Andrew Moeller 4th, Cassandra Cole bounced out of the top 5 a lap or so ago. She's raced her way up into 5th, but is in a good battle with Dan Wesson and Sean Salamito after those cars came together about 2 laps ago. As we go on board with Cassandra Cole, Jeff, she's on the hot seat right now in 5th.
She is. She's got a lot of ground to make up if she wants to get up ahead, but she just actually got really loose there. That opens the door for Dan Wesson to work the bottom. I don't think he's going to be able to get a run going into turn 1. Cassandra Cole remains clear, but time is clicking down here for Dan Wesson now, really trying to make a run on the inside. That's the battle for the final transfer spot.
Cassandra's been overdriving the corners the last couple of laps, and as a result, when you overdrive the corners, these cars go into a 4-wheel slide, and you've seen Cassandra Cole get loose in the center of the corner a couple of times. She's done a good job holding on to that final transfer spot, but she can't afford to keep getting loose like that because Dan Wesson is right behind her.
Talking about overdriving the corners, we'll talk more about that as we get into the feature. That's something that these drivers can't afford to do over the course of 60 laps. Maybe get away with it here in these short qualifying events. On board with Jonathan Pulio, running in the 3rd spot, trying to track down Brian Narducci, who slides up the racetrack a bit. Both of those drivers still have the leader in sight in Peter Bennett. Narducci, then Pulio, and just behind Jonathan, you have Andrew Moeller and Cassandra Cole. That is the top 5. Final time around, Jeff McConey, in this qualifying heat race.
White flag is in the air, and race control gave a warning. Keep it clean for that 5th place spot for the final transfer spot. So Dan Wesson had to back down a little bit, tried to get another run going, but unfortunately couldn't make it happen. Now Peter Bennett coming off turn 4 is going to win it. Brian Narducci in 2nd, Jonathan Pulio 3rd, Andrew Muller 4th, and Cassandra Cole holds on to 5th. They will all advance. But Dan Wesson, Sean Salamito, Alina Bryden, Larry Westgate, and Joseph Eilert are all going to have to race their way in through the Consi.
Yeah, Alina Bryden and Westgate back in the first couple laps got together, and that put those two out of contention from the start. Cassandra Cole did a good job, though, because she was able to cool her tires down. She kept the car stable, and eventually she was able to pull away from the cars behind her.
And she will be in the feature event later on this evening as qualifying heat race number 4. gridded up, ready to go. Here, our final qualifying event. Some big names, including Teddy Hodgson, who was our opening night winner back on March 22nd, or March 27th, that is. He'll lead them to green over Aaron Plemons. Kyle Souza, a two-time winner in the third spot over Justin Bren. Tyler Leary and Steven Daddio, one of those drivers that transferred in from the Wednesday night program, will start in position number 6. So very sporty front 3 rows there. Dan Butler and RJ Serdell and Nicole Chambrello making her debut here on our iRacing program on Friday nights will start 9th. Travis Haidar rounding out the top 10. Again, these starting lineups set by qualifying just a little bit ago. Some new names as we've seen here tonight, Jeff, and it'll be interesting to see how Nicole Chambrello, if she can make her way up through the field. We've seen Steven Daddio a couple of times as well. He's been solid on our Wednesday night programs and the fan events, and that's why he's racing here tonight.
You're absolutely right. Raced his way in, but now Travis Haidar is someone as well to keep an eye on. Didn't put down a time in qualifying, going to start back there in 10th. Let's see what he's able to do. Plenty of people to keep an eye on, though, especially Kyle Souza up there towards the front. Got a lot of room to work with here. He's got plenty of space behind him. He can afford to lose up to 2 spots before he's knocked out of contention. So I think he's going to try and make a run here on Teddy Hodgson for the lead.
Aaron Plemons also transferring from the Wednesday night program and will start in the 2nd spot here to the outside of Teddy Hodgson. Here they come off of turn number 4. Final qualifying heat race, a very strong field here tonight of about 40 drivers. Green flag is out, and it's Teddy Hodgson leading the field at turn number 1 on the bottom over Aaron Plemons. Then it's Kyle Souza trying to take that 3rd spot away from Justin Bren as they make their way off turn 2.
Trouble towards the back, but it's going to remain clean. Involved in that was Nicole Chambrello and RJ Serdell, both wrapped up there. But now the guy sitting in 5th place is going to be Tyler Leary, holding off Dan Butler. Tyler's had a lot of bad luck these past few weeks. Trying to turn it around here and working his way right into the feature event would be a great way to start the night.
Tyler Leary in position number 5. And Bonza, we talk about drivers that have had bad luck in the last month or so. Tyler Leary, no doubt on that list. I feel like he's been upside down more than he's been right side up. But right now, so far, so good in the top 5.
Yeah, lap 3, but he's holding his own right now. He's got a couple car lengths back to Steve Daddio, who just got past Dan Butler to move up to 6th. As you ride with Tyler Leary, you can see how loose that car is, and he got way out of shape. He's going to lose that power transfer spot to Steve Daddio.
And there's the announcer's jinx. I picked that up from Jeff, apparently, as they race their way up the back straightaway. Hodgson continues to lead, riding on board with Tyler Leary, who is now backed up to the 7th spot. Daddio goes by to the inside to pick up 5th. You see Dan Butler in the 18 car just ahead of him, and that is the battle for 6th. And now Tyler Leary, Jeff, trying to rebound as they're also racing hot and heavy for the lead up front. Here comes Kyle Souza looking to the inside of Teddy Hodgson.
There goes Kyle Souza around Teddy Hodgson. He's got a push from Aaron Plemons. Now it's a side-by-side battle for 2nd. Plemons and Hodgson working and fighting for that 2nd spot. Plemons gets a little bit loose on the bottom, but Hodgson cannot make the top roll. It's really not too easy to do here. Now Tyler Leary, though, trying to run down Steven Daddio again. He's up to 6th place, but he needs one more spot here if he's going to advance. Let's take a look on board with Hodgson, though, as he tries to work his way around Aaron Plemons here with just a few laps left.
Led the opening laps of this race, fell back to 3rd 2 laps ago. As Kyle Souza, a 2-time winner in this series, is now the leader. Aaron Plemons, the Wednesday night transferee from the fan race, is now 2nd. Hodgson 3rd, also a winner in this series back in March on opening night. Steven Daddio, Justin Bren also among the top 5. And whoa, way loose for Teddy Hodgson there, Bonds, off turn 2. It looks like he has his hands full here with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, we've seen a couple guys have their hands full. Tyler Leary earlier, we saw Cassandra Cole get her hands full in the previous heat race, and now Teddy Hodgson, and that's going to cause him to lose some more time to Plemons. But right now, he's in a good spot with 2 laps to go in the heat race, running in 3rd. The final transfer spot is Steve Daddio, and he's got a lot of space in between him and the next car in line, Dan Butler. And Travis Haidar he's running out of time. He's stuck still back in 7th.
Yeah, about 4 seconds between Steven Daddio and Dan Butler from 5th to 6th. So unless Daddio has a big bobble and overdrives the corner, he should be in good shape. Kyle Souza comes off of turn number 2. Jeff, no surprise. He's been dominant all season, about to take a heat race win here.
That he is. Comes off turn 4. Kyle Souza's going to win it. Aaron Plemons in second. Teddy Hodge in third. Justin Bren finishes it in fourth. And Steven Daddio comes home fifth. That leaves Dan Butler, Travis Hydar, Tyler Leary, Nicole Chambrello, and RJ Sodell all having to race their way in now through the Consi.
Who's a two-time winner, won the street stock race back on April 24th that we had. And then on May 8th, won the tour type modified event. So it doesn't seem to matter what kind of race car. Kyle Souza has done well with it. Again, want to thank All Phases Renovations for sponsoring tonight's program out of southeastern Massachusetts, putting up the $250 purse here this evening. Give them a call, Larry, that is, for your outdoor needs at 508-332-6316 as we are set for the consolation event for drivers that are still trying to make the field. Missed it in their qualifying event. They include Pete Thickett and Dan Wesson, Al Saunders, Sean Solomito in row 2, Devin Jensick and Alina Bryden in row number 3, followed by Kevin Crosby, Larry Westgate, Mark Alkis, and Joseph Eilart, rounding out the 10 starters here in this consolation event. And I believe, if I'm doing the math, what is it, the top 3 that advance from here?
Mm-hmm. You did it, Kyle.
That's
I'm proud
correct.
of you. Great job.
I don't have the math skills that Jeff McConey has. I can tell you that right now.
He's an engineer, remember? Come on now.
What I've heard. Making their way up the back straightaway, Jeff, who do you like in this consolation event, and do you expect to see maybe a little bit more trouble? We just had 4 qualifying races go caution-free. I have a feeling that pressure ramps up even more, though, here in these consies.
I think the event will go caution-free because any wreck might just be a single-car one. I think Al Saunders, though, is going to have himself a great race. Very talented driver. Same thing with Sean Solomito. That car is starting in 4th, but might be able to work their way in. So we'll have to see if Pete Thickett, Dan Wesson, and Al Saunders can hold on to their spots because they are the top 3, and only the top 3 are going to advance.
I want to mention Pete Thickett. If that man has no bad luck, he has no luck at all. Like, his luck has been awful. Throughout this whole iRacing series, he always gets caught up in some messes, so hopefully for him, starting on the pole, the luck will turn around.
Front row starters, so important here. Obviously, you want to be in the top 3 as well. Thickett, Wesson, and Saunders are there as we come down to the green flag. 10 laps the distance here in this first of 2 consolation events. Top 3 will advance into tonight's 60-lap late model feature event. We're off and rolling, and it's Wesson and Thickett. Thickett to the inside, Wesson topside as they race to turn 3.
Sean Solomito got a bit loose there in turn 1 and slid up the track. That's going to cost him. So now Al Saunders slides into 2nd. Solomito falls all the way back to 5th. But you see Devin Jensick there fighting to the inside of Dan Wesson, trying to make it work here. He's going to be on the inside going into turn 3, and he will hopefully clear him by turn 4. That's what Devin Jensick wants, but the Dan Wesson in the 92 is going to try and hold on the outside.
Back to the line they come to complete lap number 2. Good battle there for position number 3. Jensick hangs on to the spot. Now Sean Solomito and Dan Wesson get at it for 4th and 5th. Move Wesson, make that Jensick up to 3rd. Solomito 4th, Wesson back to 5th. Again, only 3 transfer, unlike the heat races where the top 5 moved into the feature event. Different here in the consolation events, and Bonza, everybody quickly strung out, and looked like we had, one maybe solo car spin with Larry Westgate. Other than that, everybody so far so good.
Yeah, they're minding their P's and Q's right now as we're approaching halfway through this consolation race. Dan Wesson was actually doing a good job holding his own on the outside line, battling against Devin Jensick, but his left front fender caught the right rear of Jensick going into turn number 1. That made him go wide, losing the transfer spot and losing 4th to Sean Solomito. Now the question is, will Sean Solomito be able to reel in that 23 car as the 23 got a little bit loose off of 4?
The Exalta scheme by Sean Solomito as seen through the windshield of Dan Wesson as we ride with Wesson off turn 2 and up the back straightaway. Unfortunately for both of them, right now outside of the top 3, Devin Jensick, who you see just in front. Well, maybe I thought we were going to be spinning to the infield there a moment ago with Dan Wesson. He had a nice save, but they are getting at it from 3rd on back. Transfer spot on the line, Jeff, with now 3 laps to go.
Transfer spot on the line. Sean Solomito has it in his sights right now. Solomito, that is, excuse me. But 0.847 seconds back from the leader is what Salamito is. He's right on that back bumper. Devin Jensic, though, could make something happen going into a turn. He's got 4 laps to do it.
Oh, Pete Thicket got loose off a turn 2, and that's going to cause a battle for the lead, Kyle.
Pete Thicket, nice save off of turn 2, drifted up the racetrack, and now Al Saunders gets out of shape on the bottom. The leaders come together, and both will spin to the infield.
The caution is out here after that. It's just going to be a couple laps to go, but a green-white checkered for these drivers. Looks like Al Saunders just went in there and, man, got a tap to the back bumper from the 23. That pushed him up into Pete Thicket, and like you said, if it's no luck, if it's not bad luck, it's no luck at all for that 10 car.
Oh my gosh, like unreal. You would think them side by side for the lead, they wouldn't battle too hard, but 3rd and 4th were right behind them, so I guess they were worried that if Thicket gets stuck on that outside line, he might be shuffled out and go from the lead back to 4th. It's just close quarters racing, it looked like, and I thought they had it saved, but they didn't, and eventually it caused both Saunders and Thicket to go around. I think Jensic might have gotten a slight piece of that, causing Thicket to go up into, or Saunders to go up into Thicket, but nonetheless, a tough break for those two, but they're not quite out of it yet.
Started with Thicket when he got out of shape off of turn 2, drifted up the racetrack and allowed Saunders a look to the inside. Then Saunders broke loose and they both went around, and now we have, for the most part, a new top 3. Sean Salamito being scored as the leader here in this consolation event. Devin Jensic is now 2nd, moved Dan Wesson up to 3rd, and Alina Bryden now in her first time with us here on Friday nights at eStafford Motor Speedway in this iRacing program is 4th, and now 1 spot outside of the top 3 as we ride on board with Alina. You mentioned she comes from Wild Thing Karts, has raced most of her life at Stafford Motor Speedway on Monday nights in karts. Last year transferred, make that about a year and a half ago now, moved up to the SK Light Modifieds, running a handful of events in 2018, ran a full season last year in 2019, and we expect to see her back at the racetrack when we get back to racing here, hopefully soon on Friday nights in her SK Light.
Yeah, she's excited because her SK Light the last couple of years was a very old chassis. When I say old, I mean at least 30 years old. It was a very old chassis. It's very impressive that people can still use parts and pieces and full-on chassis from that many years ago. But she is excited because she's got a new chassis, a couple years old, but it's a new one for them. Much more updated one that they think they'll be able to be more competitive in when the SK Light season, the racing season overall, gets started, and they look to get some top 10s.
That's the great thing about modifieds. The evolution is there. There are some parts and pieces that have evolved over the years, but for the most part, you can take a chassis that's that old and run with it, and I think that's part of the reason why we see full fields each and every Friday night at Stafford Motor Speedway in the SK Lights. They average, 26, 28, 30 cars.
Yep.
The SK Modifieds average, 26 to 30 cars as well. So great fields each and every Friday night, and we really hope we can get back at it here soon. Some good news from the folks here in Connecticut, allowing the Stafford Motor Speedway to host some private practice sessions beginning as soon as a couple of days ago, I believe on May 20th. That notice came down. So if you're interested in going to the racetrack, although there will be restrictions, as there will be with about everything these days, give them a call, 860-684-2783, the number to the track office. Set to go back at it here in this consolation event. It'll be a 2-lap shootout. Salamito and Jensic, Wesson round out the top 3. Alina Bryden, first car outside in 4th.
Alina looking now for a run here, but the 48 gets a little bit loose up on the outside. That opened the door for Kevin Crosby to work by. Here comes Al Saunders as well as Alina catches the wall. Right now, struggling a bit is the 48 machine, but Al Saunders trying to take advantage in the 40. He's got Pete Thicket right behind. Now Al going to the work on the 33 machine, trying to work his way up. Al's up to 5th, but the white flag's in the air here. There's not enough time, I don't think.
Kevin Crosby, first car outside, looking in. Sean Salamito leads into turn 3. Devin Jensic, Dan Wesson, the top 3 now as they come off of turn 4. The battle for that 4th spot is hot and heavy, but it doesn't mean a thing. Checkered flag, and Sean Salamito will win this consolation event and move into the feature event later on this evening over Devin Jensic and Dan Wesson, the top 3. And as of now, Kevin Crosby, Pete Thicket, Joseph Eilart, Al Saunders, Alina Bryden, Larry Westgate, and Mark Ulkus. Not going to run in the 60-lap feature event for the late models here coming up in a few minutes.
I think I got the broadcaster's jinx from you after you got it from Jeff, because I mentioned Pete Thickett's name, and look what happens. Oh, gosh.
Hey, he slipped up in turn number 2 and got himself in trouble. And unfortunately failed to make the feature event. So consolation event number 2 getting ready to get lined up and ready to go. Tony Membrino apparently will be on the front row here, and we'll be in good company with Dan Butler on his outside. Then it's Sal Accardi and Travis Haidar, Cliff Saunders, and Tyler Leary. Kind of rooting for Tyler here. He has had so much bad luck in this series the last couple of weeks. We'll see if he can make the top 3. Dalton McCarthy, Nicole Chambrello, making up row number 4. RJ Serdell also in the field here in position number 10. Tapley Jr. is not Tapley Jr. and is not racing in this qualifying event. Who is that, Bonza? Familiar name.
Dylan Kopech. He decided to be Scott Tapley Jr. for tonight. Obviously, he's the race control guy for all the races that we've had the last several weeks, both on Fridays and Wednesdays. I think a couple weeks ago, he changed his name to Sheriff, and now he's Tapley Jr. So, Dylan, you kept your promise, and I hope you're proud.
See his name pop up because he is also logged into the session, as he has to be to do his duties of calling the caution flag. So we'll see his name pop up every once in a while as the field continues to roll here under caution. It'll be about a lap and a half before we go under green. And Jeff, there's a lot of really good drivers in this consolation event, and only 3 of them are going to advance. We're about to send some big names home.
That we are. Cliff Saunders, Tyler Leary, Nicole Chambrello are all on the outside looking in, trying to work their way up into the top 3. Tony Membrino, Dan Butler, and Sal Accardi all have to hold on to their starting spots. But Travis Haidar sits there in 4th. He's definitely a strong contender. We'll have to see what ends up happening here if we could see a total swap of the top 3.
10 laps the distance, 3 to transfer, 9 to start. Means we will have 6 very disappointed drivers when this race is all said and done, as the field makes its way up the back straightaway. Make that the purple car on the front row. Tony Membrino, Dan Butler to his outside in row number 2. 2 drivers very familiar with the Stafford Motor Speedway, as are most of these drivers here tonight, competing in all the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series divisions on Friday nights. Here they come. Green flag off of turn number 4. The outside lane gets the jump in Dan Butler. Membrino and Haidar now side by side for the second spot.
That outside lane got the jump because Travis Haidar slammed the back end of Dan Butler and gave him a shove to get him going. You can see the damage to the back end of the 18 machine of Dan Butler, but that pushed him all the way up to the lead. Now it's a side-by-side battle for 3rd. Travis Haidar trying to take that spot away from Sal Accardi. Sal slides up, almost gets into Tony Membrino, running in 2nd. Now here comes Cliff Saunders as well, trying to work the inside over Travis Haidar, who left the door open. Saunders now in 4th, trying to get up to 3rd. That's the final transfer spot.
Tyler Leary in that pack of traffic as well. Dalton McCarthy in that pack of traffic. Nicole Chambrello, again, her first night here, part of this series, just getting her feet wet, making laps and getting used to these late models. Unfortunately, we go back to the modifieds here next week. So they come off of turn number 4. Top 3, Butler, Membrino, Accardi. Bonza, they quickly single out again. In the top 3, it looks like beginning to tiptoe away.
Yeah, and if you're Travis Haidar, man, you need to go. Right now in front of Tyler Leary's going to look inside of Cliff Saunders, but that's not for a transfer spot. That's for 4th. They're on the outside looking in, and that's going to help Sal Accardi pull away even further. But for Travis Haidar, who's shown how fast he is in the late models, because we saw him in the NASCAR Roots race a couple weeks ago in Stafford with NBC Sports and Truex Management, he was really fast. But right now, in his spot, he won't make the feature. There's still 5 laps to go, but he either needs a caution or he needs the guys up in front like Tony Membrino and Sal Accardi to make a mistake.
Talking about Travis Haidar running in position number 5 now, moving around Cliff Saunders, but 5 isn't good enough in that 5th position, closing in on Tyler Leary in 4th as they make their way up the back straightaway. And it's like Saunders off the pace, so Cliff Saunders.
He got turned off of turn 2 by Dalton McCarthy, but we remain under green.
Dan Butler continues to lead the way over Tony Membrino. Sal Liccardi, it is a 5-car race for 3 spots as they make their way up the back straightaway. Tyler Leary, the first driver outside looking in. Travis Haidar in 5th. Leary, a double-duty driver the last couple of seasons, at least last season at Stafford, running a late model, running an SK Light Modified, and running a virtual late model here tonight, trying to race his way in, but man, he has company to the inside, Jeff, and Travis Haidar.
That he does right now. Everyone fighting for one of those top 3 spots. And Sal Liccardi, though, holding on in that 39 machine.
Hardy in 3rd. Here they come off of turn 2. Tyler Leary and Travis Haidar still trying to race their way in. And I thought Bonza Liccardi opened the door off of turn 2 a half lap ago, but Leary unable to take advantage.
Yeah, we've seen him go a little bit high in turns 1 and 2, and then he diamonds the corner and gets a good run off the corner. But if he leaves that bottom open for too long, that's going to happen. But Leary's going to end up spinning out after getting into Liccardi. We remain under green. This is it for Travis Haidar on the last lap. He needs to try and get there.
Membrino goes around.
Membrino gets turned. Haidar's going to get in. Membrino spins, and Liccardi's going to take the last spot. At least for now.
Wild top 3, wild final lap for the top 3. Dan Butler wins. No drama there. Drama with everybody behind him, with Travis Haidar and Sal Liccardi finishing 2nd and 3rd. As we get a replay here from Travis Haidar. Right now, outside looking in, you had to get a little bit desperate though that final lap, and Tyler Leary went to the inside, and unfortunately lost it off of turn number 2. Leary will finish outside of the top 3, but wow, a wild qualifying or consolation event there. But field now is set, Jeff. Much cleaner tonight. I think that might have been the wildest race of the night.
That it was, but we've still got the feature ahead of us. 60 laps here. It's going to be a good one right now. They're going to go out, warm the cars up for a couple minutes, get them all, make sure they're all set and all good. We haven't heard anything from race control yet. I don't know if we're going to get any sort of ruling, but they can't add cars that are out into the event. So Tony Membrino, even if race control were to say he should be in the race, it can't be done. So the only option there is to pull someone that made the field out, but we don't know if that's going to happen. The result could stand.
A 5-minute practice session now, final warm-up before the qualifying or before the 60-lap feature event. Want to give another shout-out to All Phases Renovations. They are the proud sponsor of tonight's race program. They've been on board now for, I think, a little over a month, 5 or 6 weeks here at eStafford Motor Speedway. The official sponsor of tonight's event. $250 on the line. You get a look at some of their work now on screen. $150 to the winner, $75 for second, $25 for third. They are located in southeastern Massachusetts. Give Larry a call for all of your outdoor construction needs, including patios, pool renovations, outdoor bars and kitchens, decks, and a whole lot more. And as the weather gets nicer here this last week or so, those renovations might be in need. Visit their Facebook page for more information or give them a call, 508-332-6316. Also want to thank the Horton Group for providing sponsorship for the Wednesday night preliminary event that is open to any race fan that has an iRacing rig that wants to partake and try to make tonight's race program. They take the top 5 out of the Wednesday night show to move into the Friday night program. Also, thanks some of the other sponsors: Napa Auto Parts, a longtime sponsor at the Stafford Motor Speedway; Dunleavy Truck and Trailer Repair, a proud sponsor at Stafford, and about 90% of the modifieds out there, I feel. Midstate Site Development, Call Before You Dig, Lincoln Tech Institute, Spark Virtual Reality, Mayberry Material Handling, all great sponsors each and every Friday night when we go racing at the Stafford Speedway. Lots happening on our YouTube channel, Bonza, this week, and I know you put together a lot of the programming or a lot of the profiles that pop up on our Stafford Speedway YouTube channel, but I noticed you've enjoyed some of the classic races as well. You're one for the history of the sport, and there's been a lot of great races posted on the Stafford YouTube channel this last week.
I still got to watch the 2002 fall final that they posted a couple days ago. I mean, the classic races are so fun to watch. and it just reinforces the idea that modifieds at Stafford, there's nothing like it. But that's not to say the late model races have been incredibly fun to watch. The street stock races, or what was then called the dare stocks, these guys, and this track, a driver's track, is always fun to watch. But tune in to Stafford Speedway's YouTube channel. You're watching right now from Stafford's YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe before you tune out at the end of the race. And make sure you check out the content we have, because we have the classic races. We had the Napa Fall Final 300 lapper in the Modified Tour back in 1997, Kyle, on ESPN too, which is pretty cool. But nonetheless, check it out. A wide array of content. We have drivers' first wins, such as Ryan Byrne's first late model win. We have Nicky Chambrello's incredible triumph from flipping one week to win the next, and so much more on Stafford Speedway's YouTube channel.
The one of the classic races this week, the 2003 Busch North race from Stafford.
Yep.
Some guy named Martin Truex Jr. did rather well that night. So
Yes, name sounds familiar.
yeah, he's done a thing or two for himself. Be sure to check it out. The Bottom Shot Podcast, also part of the YouTube channel. A lot of great sit-down, in-depth interviews with drivers like Mike Christopher Jr. and Ryan Preece, Rick Fuller, Doug Coby, Bo Gunning, Woody Pitcat, Keith Rocco, Jerry Pearl. We even talked to longtime Stafford director Scott Tapley, Lisa Arute, who has been with the Stafford Motor Speedway and obviously part of the Arute family for a long time now. So she gives a bit behind the scenes of what happens there at Stafford with Paul, who hosts the Bottom Shot Podcast. So a lot of great content there, and StaffordSpeedway.com. We've been profiling a lot of the drivers from the 50 greatest modified drivers of all time. This week we featured Buddy Krebs, George Kent, Charlie Jerzambek, and also a current driver profile as the checkered flag waves on this practice session. This week's driver spotlight, three-time track champion Kevin Gambacorta, who also has 17 feature wins at Stafford across the street stocks, limited late models, and late models. So much great content, even though there's no racing. Hopefully that changes here in the next couple of weeks as we are set for the feature event. Starting lineup, and the cars take to the grid. Ryan Borges, been quick all day, and he's going to lead the field to the green here over Tyler Wood on the front row. Then it's Peter Bennett and Kyle Souza in row number 2. And Jeff, Ryan Blanchard, and Mike Christopher Jr. making up row number 3. No doubt both of those drivers will be strong as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you got Brian Narducci right behind them in 7th spot, able to make this week's late model race after missing the first one we had some weeks ago. You got Aaron Plemons, another guy I mentioned to watch for. He won the Wednesday race to transfer over. Ryan Libby's very fast. He's been on iRacing for many years. Matt Vassar didn't make the late model feature before. He's now in. He's starting back in the 10th spot. Jonathan Pulio starts in 11th. He says these late models are one of the harder cars to drive on iRacing, but he's excited nonetheless. And Teddy Hodgson starts in 12th.
Mason Tessier has had a lot of success in the late models here on iRacing. He starts, in 13th. Matt Swanson in 14th. Andrew Muller starts 15th with Justin Brennan all the way back in 16th. Justin Williams in 17th. Kyle Johnson 18th. Cassandra Cole in 19th. And Steven Daddio will round out the top 20.
Don Salamito has a long way to go, but he's just glad to be here after the consolation event. Dan Butler along with him in row number 11. Devin Jensick, Travis Haidar in row number 12, starting 23rd and 24th. And rounding out the field, Dan Wesson and Sal Accardi sneaking in their final position in the consolation events, in each of their consolation events respectively. That makes up 26 cars. Bonza, actually, let's go to Jeff on this. We talked earlier. Keeping the tires underneath you, you can overdrive it maybe a little bit into turn 1 and turn 3 in the heat races, but really can't get away with that over the 60-lap distance here.
That's right. These cars, when that grip is gone, it is gone for good. You can't get it back. You can't restore a tire to what it used to be. And pitting and losing all that track position is going to be extremely damaging to your run. So you have to take care of your equipment. It doesn't matter who the fastest car is. All that matters is who leads the last lap. I think Kyle Souza's got a good chance of it here, though. He's starting in 4th place. We'll see what he's got. Ryan Borges is going to lead the way, though. Peter Bennett slides down low, and he's going to try and get a run on that 22. But he's going to be side-by-side with Kyle Souza for 3rd now.
That 22 is Tyler Wood as Ryan Borges leads the field off of turn number 2. Wood, Bennett, Souza, Blanchard. That is the top 5 as they come around to complete lap number 1. Everybody, and for the most part, pace car formation or pace lap formation, 2 by 2 as they race to turn number 2. And again, Bonzo, starting these events in that outside lane can be tough, and we're seeing that here with a few drivers.
Yeah, Kyle Souza's won them, and he just shut the door on Ryan Blanchard in turn 3 to get into that bottom line. The first car out of line right now in the outside group is Aaron Plemons. He is side by side with Mike Christopher Jr. back in about the 6th position, but right now the top 5 single file still nose to tail.
Ryan Borges the leader, Wood in 2nd, Bennett and Kyle Souza slamming that car back in the line in 4th about a lap ago, just in front of Ryan Blanchard in 5th. Aaron Plemons in 6th. They get racing for about the 9th or 10th spot, Jeff. Teddy Hodgson in that battle, Matt Swanson, Jonathan Pulio, all outside of the top 10 trying to race their way toward the front.
That they are. Matt Vassar's having a good run, but let's take a ride along with Kyle Souza, though. Working his way up. He's right on that back bumper of Peter Bennett. He's a little bit lower than him, it looks like, on corner exit. He's using all 4 tires on the apron to get a good run off. Kyle Souza's looking for a little bit more here, but he's sitting in the top 5.
For you Den Weston fans, he just spun off a turn 4 a lap ago, but we remain under green.
Weston toward the back of the field. We do keep it under the green flag, already working lap number 6 of this 60-lap feature event, and the caution comes out, looks like for an incident, again, outside of the top 5 toward the back of the field.
Yeah, looks
Travis
like Justin
Hyder was
Brenn.
involved.
Yeah, Justin Brenn, I think, might have gotten a piece to that. Devin Jensick was back there, so took 6 laps, but it does bring out the first caution. These guys were minding their P's and Q's, though. They did a good job.
Yeah, we should probably take a look on board with the 66 here. Looks like, if this was the Full Velocity Racing Network, they have something over there called the selfie cam when somebody spins all by themselves. We're going to break that out there for Justin Brenn. Goes around all by his lonesome and gets into a couple other cars there.
The selfie cam, I heard the selfie stick, I think is a term
selfie stick, yep.
Yeah.
You use quite a lot as well. And using the selfie stick here for Justin Brenn, goes around all by himself in front of a lot of cars, and apparently and unbelievably everybody missed him. A couple of cars got involved as we go on board with Kyle Johnson. Dan Wesson had nowhere to go. He was a part of it as well. Let's see what Kyle Johnson saw to bring out this first caution flag of the event. Still early on.
Boy, Moeller just got by too on the outside line, but Devin Jensick and Sean Solomito both got a piece of that accident. So about 3 cars that went around there in turns 3 and 4. But yeah, Justin Brenn lost it entering the corner as if he overdrove the corner. It looked like he had too much rear brake, but Jeff, I don't know if you can really adjust brake bias.
You can make a lot of adjustments to brake bias.
Oh,
it's one
okay.
of the it's one of the few things in the car that you can adjust. The brake bias, the steering ratio, and the steering offset are the things you can adjust on a fixed setup, which is what these guys are driving here tonight. So if you are playing with that brake bias and you put too much in the wrong place, yeah, it can really throw that car out of whack, and that could be what happened there. Just snapped loose on entry.
We're going to go green next time by. Jeff, explain, if you can, the fixed setup for those that are new to iRacing, and who sets up a fixed setup.
So this is essentially the setup is how the car is. It's the track bar position, it's the tire pressures, it's everything involved in making the car drive the way it does. And in a fixed setup race, everyone is driving on the exact same setup. Everyone has the same tire pressures, track bar position. They cannot touch it. It's as if they're all driving the exact same car. It's a test of who the best is. So this is the setup I actually built for these guys. It's a little looser than what they're used to because we wanted to see if making a car more difficult to drive would lead to some better racing. The past few weeks, it seems like it sure has, and right now Ryan Borges is sure appreciating it. So he gets a great run there at the start. Peter Bennett goes to the bottom, and here comes Kyle Souza. They're 3 wide for second place and making it work. Yeah,
Kyle Souza quickly found the bottom of the racetrack this time for the restart of the event and is now battling for position number 3. It's Tyler Wood to the outside, Souza to the bottom. Then they stack up behind him. Aaron Plemons to the outside of Ryan Blanchard as they race side by side for 4th. Top 2, though, quickly got single file and are trying to pull away. Ryan Borges the leader. Peter Bennett in 2nd. 1 car slides way up high. Looks like Tyler Wood off turn 2.
Yeah, that was Tyler Wood. He lost a bunch of spots. He was up there in that top 5 spot. Contact in front of them. Matt Baxter getting into Ryan Libby. They hang on for now, but it does stack the field up behind them as they head to turn 1.
Side-by-side
Bit
racing.
more trouble. Wow, they are barely managing to make it work. Looks like Ryan Libby is off the pace, and that is really keeping Tyler Wood stuck behind him. He's got nowhere to go. They are beating and banging now. He's going to lose a spot to Jonathan Julio on the inside, and Tyler Wood is just falling through the field quickly.
Yeah, free falling right now for Tyler Wood down to position number 12. Make that 13, continuing to drop as we go back toward the front of the field. Good battle just inside of the top 5. Looks like Brian Narducci, Ryan Blanchard battling for position number 5. A good battle there as we go on board with Ryan Blanchard just behind Brian Narducci. Make their way off of turn 2, up the back straightaway. They'll single out. Blanchard trying to put the bumper to him, Jeff, but he can't quite get there, or can he, off turn 4?
Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get there. It also looks like that front end damage is pretty bad for him. I can assure you it's not nearly as bad as it looks. It's just that part of the car that's crumpled up, some front right damage. It's certainly not good, but the car isn't destroyed. The tire isn't going to get cut down. It actually probably isn't affecting the way that car drives all that much for Ryan Blanchard. He's still got his sights on the back bumper of Brian Narducci, and he's right there.
On board with Narducci.
We got to change. Sorry, Kyle. We got to change for second spot. Peter Bennett went way wide in turn 1 a couple laps to go, and that allowed Kyle Souza to move up to second. But Souza's got some ground to make up. He's about 7 car lengths behind our leader.
Still plenty of time, though. Not quite to halfway. Just 18 of 60 laps complete, and that brings up managing your tires, Jeff. We talked about the setups are fixed, but the tires will wear on how aggressive you are behind the wheel. You can either save your tires by not driving as aggressive, or you can burn them up pretty quick, and that's what we saw a little bit on Wednesday night in the fans race. Drivers that ran well early just simply overdrove the corners and burned their tires up, and that's something that we've seen a lot here over the last few weeks with all the different cars, but especially these heavier late models.
You are absolutely right. These cars are very difficult to drive, and they feel a lot differently than the modifieds do, so you can't really take the corners as quickly here. You're getting down to about 85 miles an hour through the center of the turns, and you're only getting up to about 110. The modifieds are a lot quicker, actually down to about 70 miles an hour in turns 3 and 4 right there. So these cars are a bit slower. The lap times are about a second and a half slower than the modifieds. So you really have to take into consideration how you drive it. We're already a third of the way through this race. Let's take a look back at P10 for this race.
Yeah, they're getting at it, Bonza, from Jonathan Julio or so on back. Mason Tessier is there. Tyler Wood is there. Wow, Julio goes way up the racetrack. Eddie Hodgson, Andrew Moeller, just to name a few of the cars involved in this battle for 10th.
Yeah, Mason Tessier said hello to Julio and got into the back of the 57 car, but he did a good job of saving it because he could have spun out in front of that big pack of cars. Tyler Wood also got past. Julio trying to get back to that back bumper to 22 car. Wood gets loose. Teddy Hodgson behind him was side-by-side for Swanson, who's a couple spots ahead, and Hodgson got into Tessier, and Hodgson went very wide in turn 3, lost several spots, but he's starting to gain him back right now as he looks to the inside of Tyler Wood.
Hodgson struggling a little bit here in the late model. He's going to be very happy when the SK Modified comes back next Friday night here at eStafford Speedway. Part of our iRacing program, has already picked up a win this year in the SK Modified, battling for a position now outside of the top 10 for Teddy Hodgson in car number 55, but doing well. A little bit of contact there, though, as he battles with Tyler Wood.
A lot of contact there all throughout the field as well. Everyone's trying to work their way around other people. Ryan Blanchard has just said the only way he's going to get around Brian Narducci is if Narducci makes a mistake, so he's sort of resigned in his fate to 6th place, but up towards the front, we'll take a look on board with Blanchard as he's trying to get by Narducci, but up towards the front, Kyle Souza is trying to run down Ryan Borges, and he's actually about a 10th quicker a lap.
Riding on board with Ryan Blanchard, who right now runs in position number 6, just behind Brian Narducci, last week's Tour Type Modified winner. In fact, he's been in contention for the win the last couple of weeks in Tour Type Modifieds. Like Bonza mentioned a little bit ago, failed to qualify for the last late model event here about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So Narducci having a much better night here tonight. And we're going to go further up now. You see the battle for fourth. Now we go up to the battle for the lead. Ryan Borges, the leader. And quickly closing in on the back glass is Kyle Souza. Bonza Souza's been so strong in these late models and in full-bodied cars in general. Won the street stock race, nearly won the late model race, and now is looking for a win here.
And he won the modifieds as well. He's just been really fast in any car. But if you notice, Ryan Borges is starting to drift up the track in the center of the corner, try to diamond the corner as these tires start to wear out. We're approaching halfway right now. We're a lap away from halfway, in fact. This time, Kyle Souza goes a little bit higher in 3 and 4, tries to cut the exit and get a run. But these guys are starting to try different lines. We haven't really seen anyone use the apron yet. But as you see, Souza, much tighter line. He gains a lot in the center, but Borges is trying to gain it all at the exit of the corner by making that straight exit off of turns 2 and 4.
And it's working for Kyle Souza right now, closing in quickly on Ryan Borges, looking to battle for the race lead as they cross halfway, 30 down, 30 to go. Want to thank everybody for tuning us in here tonight on this Friday night as we go to the eStafford Motor Speedway, late model stock cars, part of the iRacing platform here this evening on Stafford's YouTube channel. Off of turn 4 they come. Borges, the leader. Souza in second. You're watching the battle for the lead just past halfway. Peter Bennett is third. Aaron Plemons fourth. Brian Narducci fifth. Brian Blanchard is sixth. Then Matt Vassar, Matt Swanson, Ryan Libby, and Mason Tessier. The top 5 as here comes Souza. Only a matter of time, Jeff, before he made the move. Borges opened the door, and Souza was there to capitalize.
Yes, he was, but right now they are still side by side for the lead. Souza has it. He's on the outside, actually. If he can make the outside work here, that would be awfully impressive. A lot of drivers have struggled to do that here at Stafford, but if anyone can do it, I think it's that 7 car. He gets a little bit loose, holds onto it. So does Ryan Borges, though. They are still side by side a full lap later. Kyle Souza trying to get clear. He's there, but here comes Ryan Borges with a run. Slides up a little bit and almost gets into Kyle Souza. They managed to keep it clean. Souza is clear. He's got the lead.
Yeah, Borges is driving it deep into the corners to try and stay with Souza. Keeps getting loose in the center of the corner because of it, and Kyle Souza is going to be able to pull away for the lead. Souza made the pass originally, and we saw Borges go very wide into turn 3, and he actually pulled off a crossover move as Souza drifts up a little bit. That's going to give Borges another chance for the lead down the backstretch.
Great racing at the front of the field for the lead here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Kyle Souza, the leader by a half a car length. Here comes Ryan Borges to the inside. Peter Bennett has the best seat in the house, although a distant seat in the 3rd spot. Aaron Plemons right there in 4th as we watch the battle for the top spot off of turn number 2. Souza and Borges glued nose to tail. Borges gets back in the line, Jeff, maybe cooling his tires a bit, knowing that he still has a long way to go, 23 laps and counting.
Still got some time to work with here, 24 laps left in this race, but Kyle Souza still holds on to the lead, but the door might be open there for Ryan Borges. He could look low. He thinks better of it. Souza with a great run in. I think that was Borges that locked up his tires a little bit there even, trying to keep out of Souza. We'll have to see what the strategy is here. I can't think of many race car drivers, though, that like to run in second place. Let's take a look with Peter Bennett, though. He's got some fire on his back bumper from Aaron Plemons, really trying to hold on to that 3rd spot.
Plemons in position number 4. Been all over the back bumper of Peter Bennett the last couple of laps, but unable to make a move. A great battle there as well as we ride on board with Peter Bennett up the front straightaway into turn number 1. Both cars toward the bottom of the racetrack before they drift wide off of turn number 2 to make that run up the back straightaway. Bennett and Plemons. Brian Narducci closing in just a bit, although about a second behind this battle. He rides in position number 5, so call it a success so far here tonight for Brian Narducci in the 5th spot after missing the late model race a couple of weeks ago. As we continue to ride on board with Peter Bennett, and Plemons looks to the inside, and you see further up, battle for the lead also continues to remain tight. A couple of great private battles here. Bonza now looks like Plemons gets the run he's looking for.
Whoa, they got really close. We're seeing these guys drift up the track, battling side by side. Up in front, though, for the lead. Borges looks to the inside. Souza does give him a little bit of room. Can Borges get enough bite off the corner? Doesn't look like it, though, as the battle continues for 3rd. But they're still side by side for the lead in turn 1 as Borges again looks to the inside.
Oh,
they make
Souza's in trouble.
Souza hangs on after getting sideways off the corner. They still stay side by side in the 3. Borges has a slight advantage. Can he clear Souza off of 4 as he slides through the corner? Yes, but Souza's going to try and do the crossover as he almost clips the grass. They stay side by side.
One of the benefits of iRacing is that these drivers can communicate with each other live in time. And Ryan Borges immediately came on and said, sorry about that, Kyle. Kyle said, don't worry, it's all good. Then immediately went for the crossover move. So these drivers both know it's good, hard racing. They've got a second and a half over third place. Peter Bennett and Aaron Plemons still battling there. But right now, a great battle for the lead. Souza down on the bottom, trying to get past and get clear of Ryan Borges once again.
And it seems like both cars pretty equal in both lanes. Souza was strong a couple laps ago topside. Borges was strong on the bottom. They did the switch 2 laps ago, and they are still locked up side by side. Borges with that high side momentum, working well for his car. Kyle Souza, the shorter way around on the bottom, but the tighter exit off of turn number 2, working well for him. This is spectacular racing right now at the front of the field, Jeff.
Souza gets a little bit loose there. He's starting to overdrive these corner entries and ask a little bit too much of the car. 15 laps to go in this event right now, and they are giving it everything they've got. Borges is clear. Souza still right there in second place, though.
Plemons just got past Peter Bennett for third. He tried and tried and tried, but he finally got underneath Bennett going to turn number 1, and he moves up into position number 3. Oddly enough, despite Souza and Borges racing each other very hard, Bennett and Plemons really did not catch up to them. They were still just as fast as the leaders, despite those two going side by side for first.
Still about 1.7 seconds behind is Aaron Plemons and Peter Bennett from the race leaders, Ryan Borges and Kyle Souza. Borges now with an onboard view there, the race leader. Souza in second, battle for third, will drift back. It's now becoming a 3-car race for position. Plemons, Bennett, Brian Arducci now joins the party. Jeff, he's in 5th.
Still battling hard back there, still battling hard for the lead as well. Just half a car length separates first and second. But right now, Peter Bennett is stuck in the middle between Aaron Plemons and Brian Arducci, as you mentioned. Ryan Blanchard has fallen back a bit. He's got Matt Vassar behind, who's working his way around Mason Tessier. I'm a bit surprised. I was expecting a little bit more out of Mason Tessier because he is very, very strong in the late models there. He runs up there with Daniel Williamson. If one of them doesn't win the race, the other is going to do it for sure if they're ever running together. But back up front for the lead, there's a fight, and Kyle Souza wins it off of turn 2. Here comes Ryan Borges, though, to the inside. Kyle Souza going to try and remain clear, but Borges is there.
Borges looking back to the inside. Souza, the race leader by a car length now in the outside lane. They'll get single file into turn number 1 with Souza at the point into the final 10 laps now of this 60-lap feature event. Laps clicking off in a hurry, and it's going to be 2 cars to settle it, hoping among themselves. Souza and Borges, 1, 2, and a large gap now, still 1.7 seconds back to Aaron Plemons in 3rd, Peter Bennett in 4th, and Brian Arducci in 5th, but the race is obviously at the front, and it's been a good one for the last 52 laps. Kyle Souza, can he hang on and win his 3rd event here on this eStafford Speedway iRacing series sponsored by All Phases Renovations? Jeff, looks good right now.
It sure does. We know how strong Kyle Souza is in anything he's driving. His I rating is near 5,000. That's an unbelievable number. To put it into perspective, you start out at about 1,300 I rating, and you gain maybe on average 20 I rating a race, so you can lose it just as fast as you gain it. So he has a tendency to go out and win in iRacing events. He just beat me earlier today in a super late model. Looks like a regular late model is no problem at all for him.
He's the race leader. You mentioned his I rating, 4,891. Peter Bennett, also a solid I rating at 5,617 as they race back to the line into the final now 6 laps. Looking at Peter Bennett running in position number 4, trying to track down Aaron Plemons, who rides in 3rd. Plemons in the 67, Peter Bennett in the 50, just behind those two. Brian Arducci, last week's Tour Type Modified winner, running car number 98 here tonight, running in position number 5, but Bonds, it looks like he's beginning to lose a bit of ground in that 5th spot.
Yeah, but someone who's not losing ground is Ryan Borges up front. He is still right on the back bumper of Kyle Souza, and they're both trying different lines. In turn 3, you see Borges going in high, cutting down to the bottom. The next lap, you might see them alternate. You might see Souza try to enter high while Borges stays to the bottom. They're still nose to tail, and they've been racing each other fairly clean. But as the laps wind down, there's only 3.5 to go. Will we see the bumper be used?
Time ticking away. Here's Borges trying to build that full head of steam in the outside lane, then cut across to the bottom of the racetrack. Carry that speed onto the front straightaway. Doesn't work out for him as Kyle Souza maintains the top spot by less than a car length over Ryan Borges. The top two have been able to break away, but Jeff, see some lap cars just ahead. Will they catch them here in the next 2 laps?
It's looking like they might be okay here. 2 laps to
Borges
go
caught
in
the
this
wall.
event. But Borges touches the wall right there. He's going to lose a bit of ground. He's now a car length behind Souza. That last lap, he got a really great run down the backstretch off turn number 2. But all that work goes away now. Kyle Souza looking to take the white flag here. Let's see what Borges has up his sleeve.
Here they come off turn 4, a white flag in the wind. 1 lap to go here at the Stafford Motor Speedway in the All Phases Renovations 60. Kyle Souza's the leader. Does Ryan Borges make a move in turn 3 and maybe use the bumper? We'll see. Off of turn 4, it's not going to happen. Kyle Souza with the advantage off the corner and will take the checkered flag. His 3rd win here at the eStafford Motor Speedway, winning tonight's All Phases Renovations 60-lap feature event for the late models. Ryan Borges will finish in 2nd, Aaron Plemons 3rd, Peter Bennett 4th, Brian Narducci rounding out the top 5. Bonza, he gave it a shot, did Ryan Borges, but fell short at the finish.
Wow, what a battle. Yeah, Borges, he tried to get to the back bumper, but it just seemed like the car pushed up at the last second. He couldn't quite get there, but that was some incredible racing between those two, exchanging the lead back and forth for pretty much 2/3 of the race, and we didn't have a caution at all to change things up. It was just a very great natural battle between 2 guys who normally don't see at Stafford. Borges is a racer in the karts that you might see him on Monday nights at Stafford, but in terms of Friday nights, you don't see him. And Kyle Souza, obviously the media guy, you don't see him on track, but to see those two just put on quite a show, that was fun to watch.
Can't wait to hear from all 3 of them, Kyle Souza, Ryan Borges, Aaron Plemons. We hope to hear from the top 3 finishers in just a moment. Hang with us. We're going to get the top 3 dialed up, and Bonza's down in victory lane. We'll hear from the top 3 here in a moment. What a great race here tonight for the late models. We'll hear from the top 3 finishers, including race winner Kyle Souza, here in just a moment. Again, we want to thank All Phases Renovations for their support here tonight and for the last month or so, and they'll be with us here for the next few weeks. Proud sponsor of tonight's race program. Kyle Souza is glad they're here. He just picked up another $150 courtesy of All Phases Renovations here this evening. With 2nd place finisher getting $75, 3rd for $25. They are located in southeastern Massachusetts. Give Larry a call for all your outdoor construction needs. 508-332-6316. Again, thank them for coming on board. It's great to have some support here every Friday night, part of the E-Series for Stafford Motor Speedway here on the iRacing platform. Let's hear from our top three finishers now. We'll get them queued up. You see the race results: Kyle Souza, Ryan Borges, Aaron Clemens. We'll hear from them. And it's Peter Bennett, Brian Arducci, Ryan Blanchard, Matt Vassar, Matt Swanson, Mason Tessier, and Ryan Lippy. The top 10, Jeff, all separated by just over 5 seconds.
That they were. It was a fantastic run through the field. 11th, Jonathan Pulio in 12th. Andrew Muller. Tyler Wood comes home 13th. Kyle Johnson in 14th. Teddy Hodgson rounds out the top 15. Travis Hydar had a rough day, comes out 16th. Cassandra Cole in 17th. Justin Williams brings it home 18th. Dan Wesson in 19th. And Steven Daddio comes home 20th.
All of which are on the lead lap. 17 seconds back in 21st, Dan Butler, then Sal Liccardi in 22nd, Devin Jensick 23rd, 1 lap down, Justin Bren, and the only 2 drivers not to finish tonight, Sean Salamito and Mike Christopher Jr., who had early issues before the race even started. So looks like we're about to hear from the top 3. Let's go to Bonza now.
Kyle Souza, you got a copy?
Got you guys.
Kyle, 3 wins and a second in your last 4 races in the Stafford iRacing series. What is it about this momentum that you're getting that's helping you compete and excel at such a successful rate every single week?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it to you guys before, and I just, looking up what Ryan's done on iRacing, I learned a little bit more about him. I think a lot of it's just seat time, man. I've been on here almost every day lately because there's not much else to do in the real life world right now. It's a lot of seat time and it's a lot of hitting your marks. This car specifically, it's different than the Tour Modified. You got to hit your marks every single corner. And I don't know how it looked from the booth, but it was some stressful battle there with him. He raced me really clean. We hit doors a couple times, but it was a fantastic battle and props to him, man. He probably could have run me dirty countless times. I could have done the same thing to him, but that's how you race clean for the win. And just seat time, track time, and more experience.
That was an incredible battle that lasted for a major portion of that race. When you caught up to him, you got by him and he got past you again. How were you guys able to stay with each other when it looked like maybe one would pull away from the other?
Just talking to him actually still in the race after it was over, it almost felt to me, and he said the same thing, like when I got out front, my car got looser. I don't know if it was just a fantasy thing, it was in my head, I was over driving the corner or what, but he said the same thing. I don't know that there was a drive situation going on, obviously, but something about being in the lead just wasn't right until the end. I actually considered letting him go at one point, and I kind of did there, getting behind him and crossed him up and took it back, but yeah, being out front's always better. Obviously, I like to be in control of the race. Starting 4th there was a little tough. I qualified kind of mid-pack there. I had some visitors at my house, so I missed the last 45 minutes of practice and barely qualified. So it worked out. Happy that it worked out.
You guys took some unorthodox lines. You'd go very wide into the corner and then just make a hard left and go almost down to the apron. How are you guys able to maintain those tires if you were at all? And how were the tires as the run went on?
The tires, I had no tires left probably the last 15 laps, honestly. I tried to save them at the beginning, catching them, but I had a couple people, Kyle Casper, Josh Hedges, 2 Seacon guys were reading me lap times, telling me what line he was running. I just figured I had to get control of the race because that's so important. And I kind of burned it up getting to him. I burned it up racing him. And I don't think he had tires left at the end either, man. We were just hanging on for dear life. And I just got kind of lucky that I was in front of him at the end. If he was in front of me, it might have been a little bit more difficult, but there was no drive off left, tight in the center. I was sliding everywhere, but that's what makes it so much fun.
You've been able to thank the people you need to thank for the last several weeks. Who you got to thank for this week?
Yeah, I told you guys before, the last couple of times I ran top 3, there was really nobody helping, at least the first couple of times, but huge shout out to Kyle Casper, Josh Hedges tonight. They both, like I said, they read me lap times, helped me navigate the corner, helped me with the line if he was doing something different than me. Those 2 guys behind the scenes obviously helped out a ton. And then Susan Media, I know Kyle and I talked the first time that I watched the company, and It was kind of a big deal for me, and then I've gone out here and I guess done it pretty well. So happy about that. Happy to get things launching and hoping to see you guys at the track in real life sometime soon.
Likewise, Kyle. Congratulations. The first 3-time winner in the Stafford iRacing Series. Congrats, man. All right, and now we'll bring over our second place finisher, also part of that incredible battle at the end, Ryan Borges. You got a copy?
Yep.
Ryan, what a battle to the end. I asked you how confident you were feeling. You were saying, I guess I feel good. You start up in the front, and through that battle, how were you guys able to stay with each other? Kyle was talking about how you would get loose in clean air. Was that something that you guys just did not expect when you were doing practice and such?
Yeah, to be honest, I thought the track was probably going to tighten up more. I feel like the first time we ran these cars, it went from really slidey in practice to just really just snug in the feature, but it never really felt like it got to that point. Maybe it's just because we're later in the year and iRacing runs realistic weather and it stays warmer longer in the day, so maybe that's something to it. But yeah, it was tough trying to save tires and also battle him there because he was really quick, and it seemed like whoever got out front there was just not really able to pull away. It's almost like there was something to the whole clean air not giving you downforce and wiggling the car. I don't know if it was just in our heads or something, a mental thing, but I think we are both just really evenly matched, and we were both able to just cross each other over and run each other side by side. That was probably one of the most fun battles I've had on here.
It was certainly fun to watch from up here.
It's awesome.
So, Ryan, you weren't able to really save the tire. It seemed like you guys were very slidey throughout that race, but in the end, when you're able to race side by side like that, even if you finish second, just how much does it make it worth it to have those type of battles?
It makes it completely worth it. I mean, I I wanted to win. It stings a little I didn't win because I feel like I've been close in a lot of races. I know Kyle's broken through and kind of almost dominated the series the last few weeks. He's been in it, but it felt good to lead a lot of laps and really give him a run for his money there and just put on a good show for the fans. And even though we didn't come out with the win, it was a ton of fun.
You caught the wall with a couple laps to go. How much did that affect your car, if any?
You know, to be honest, I don't think it really affected me that much. I know if that was the real world, I probably would have bent something up pretty bad there, but just kind of bounced it off the wall and kept going. I think the tires were just so gone on both of our cars at that point. I don't think it made a huge difference. I was just at that point I was honestly trying to hang on his outside because it felt like the last couple of times someone pulled the head, it was on the outside lane, which is kind of odd, but it's kind of just from all the sliding going on down on the apron. So I was trying to just hang on his right rear, and I just kind of got a little too tight off the corner, bounced off the wall, and that was the last time I got side by side with him. I tried to get to him on the last lap, but I wasn't gonna bonsai it in and take us both out. I didn't think that was. I didn't want to race him like that because we raced clean the whole race. It was his race there.
Right. And who do you have to thank for the second place finish?
I'm kind of running these races solo. I don't have a spotter or anything. I think Kyle mentioned he had a couple guys spotting. I usually just run these solo. It's easier. Plus, I don't know. I guess it's easier for me to do it that way. But gotta thank the Northern Senior Champ Kart Series and RPM Motorsports for their support, and Stafford for letting me participate in this, even though I'm not a full-time driver there per se. But also gotta thank the fans for tuning in when we're not at the real track, and then also you guys up in the booth and Global Sim Racing channel for broadcasting it.
All right, great run, second place. You're getting closer, seems like every week. Congratulations on the podium run.
Thanks.
And we'll bring in our third place finisher, Aaron Plemons. Aaron, you there?
Yeah, I got you.
You were feeling really confident after winning on Wednesday. You were in a very fierce battle between you and Peter Bennett. Did you just need a caution? Do you think you still had a chance if the run kept going, if the yellow came out, that you could possibly catch up to the leaders?
Oh yeah, definitely. If we had a yellow, I feel like I could have at least went for the win, maybe 3 wide and restart or something. But yeah, they had a really good race up front. I just needed that one yellow flag. Just we didn't get it.
it seemed like when they were racing side by side, you guys weren't really catching up to him. How was your car handling, and did that battle with Bennett wear your tires out?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was trying to I just kept trying to ride the apron and I would just get loose off the corner. It really killed my tires. It was just really close racing and yeah.
Well, who you gotta thank for this third place finish?
I would like to thank my mom, my dad, JH Graphic Designs, Rapid Sim Sport, everybody just supports me in my racing career and my racing career. And it's just I would like to thank Stafford Motor Speedway for putting this on. Just sucks what we're going through right now, but ready to get back behind the wheel in real life and just see what we can do from there.
Well, congrats on the Wednesday victory, and congrats on a third place spot, Aaron Clemens. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you, buddy.
Kyle?
Yeah, those are your top three finishers here tonight as we wrap up week number 9 here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, part of the E-Series that they've been producing here every week. Jeff, your final thoughts here tonight after a wild race here for the late models, but clean event. Very limited cautions here tonight.
Actually, I'm not even sure there was a caution during the feature event, but it flew right on by. 60 laps there for everybody. There were a few incidents throughout the field, but overall, it was a really good race. Congratulations to Kyle Souza. He started back there in 4th place, worked his way up, and he was patient. That was the most important thing, was just being patient here tonight and working his way up to the front and really survived a great battle there with Ryan Borges. I don't think we could have asked for a better race.
I would agree. Bonza, your final thoughts?
That was probably some of the best racing for the lead we've seen throughout this iRacing series. You think it just can't get any better than this. We've had some crazy battles for the lead in the last few laps, but to have a 30 to 40 lap back and forth battle between Souza and Borges, that's what racing's all about. And the fact that they were basically clean throughout that entire run. A couple of times they got into each other, but when you're sliding as much as they were with these worn tires, you expect it. But that was just so much fun. Hopefully, for those who got to watch the race on YouTube, man, that was incredible. We've had a lot of great racing this week in real life and virtually, and this just adds on to it.
Absolutely, and we hope to get back into the real world racing at Stafford here in the coming weeks. Again, stay tuned to StaffordMotorspeedway.com and Stafford's social media channels for all the latest news concerning that and this iRacing series every Friday night. That'll do it for this Friday night. Want to thank Jeff McConey and Bonza Tufa for joining me here this evening in the booth. Sean Ambrose, our producer from the Global Sim Racing Channel. The Arut family for making the best of a very tough situation, putting these events together every Friday night here for Stafford Motor Speedway competitors and you, the race fans, to enjoy. We do it again next Friday night with the SK Modifieds. That's going to do it. I'm Kyle Rickey, congratulating Kyle Souza, now a 3-time winner here at the All Phases Renovations E-Series at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Good night, everyone, and stay safe this Memorial Day weekend.